Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a very special edition of the Wrestling Forum. This is the recap and results of WrestleMania 37, night number 2. I am Michael Fletcher, alongside Anthony Foyo, Michael Bullock, and Dee Woodson. We've just witnessed WrestleMania live from Raymond James Stadium in um in Tampa, Florida, exclusively on the WWE Network. If you are watching it outside of the United States, on Peacock, if you were indeed watching it in the US of A. Oh my God, what a night, folks. Yeah, we got nothing more to add here. We're just gonna dive right on in. Let's jump it off here. At WrestleMania Night 2, we started it off with Randy Orton going one-on-one with The Fiend, and Randy Orton beats The Fiend at 5 minutes and 50 seconds. This was a state of shock fight. I don't. First off, I think a lot of people were really upset because I think everybody predicted The Fiend to win. So we thought he had it. Everything was going his way. He looked dominant. He looked amazing. He looked everything that we thought. And then at some point, right towards the end of the match, Alexa Bliss had that, well, what Anthony likes to call the lung butter. It was a black, she was all black, covered in black ink or oil or whatever. And The Fiend kind of looked at her, got caught in an RKO, and Orton wins. Without a doubt, the shocker of the night. Major upset. Nobody saw that coming. Everybody and their mother had The Fiend going in this match. We had The Fiend winning this match. Bullock had it. Dee Woodson had it. Anthony had it. I had it. Derek Ferrer had it. We all had this. We all were wrong. We all got egg on our face on this one. But, my God, with the hype, everything that they talked about, the mind games that were played, why did this happen? How could this happen? Is this Alexa Bliss now? Or is it possible that she's turned into Sister Abigail? And one thing that was very important that Dee brought up that I think we all of us need to address in the room. Ever since that night, and I'm talking about the Inferno match, has anybody seen Bray Wyatt since? We've seen The Fiend, but we've never seen Bray. What's going on? Anthony Florio, Randy Orton just pulled off his version of the heist of the century, a la WrestleMania 31, by dumping The Fiend in 5 minutes and 50 seconds.
Yeah, this is going to be the worst fight of the night for us here. It was a 2-star match at best. I mean, this was all spectacle and a good one at that. The Fiend's entrance was extraordinary, and Randy Orton sold the proper amount of fright and fear as his opponent essentially shook off everything thrown at him. The stuff involving Alexa Bliss, her sudden turn, and the aftermath will create buzz and intrigue as to what is next in this saga. Hopefully, WWE addresses the sudden shift because the longer they string along the audience, the sooner they will stop caring. Hopefully, tomorrow night on Raw, we'll find that out. But for right now, this was, for me, and I'm sure we're all in agreement on this. This was the worst fight of the night here. I can only give it 2 stars for the effort, so not much more to say. Michael Bullock, very disappointing match. 5.5 minutes. And this is all we ended up getting. And Randy Orton wins again, just like he did at 33.
Yeah, and like you said, this was unfortunately a very disappointing match to say the very least. We expected this to be something good, especially with the hype built around it, and this is all we get. Yeah, I can only give this 2.5 stars as well. So there's really nothing more to add to it. The thing is, like you said, I can't wait to see what boils down tomorrow night on Raw. I mean, will we get any kind of explanation for this? Because Alexa Bliss is the only one that has the explanation. And we'll see if she gives it, or there's an old saying, or will she leave us with more questions than answers? Only time will tell. TD Woodson, it's yours.
Well, she certainly didn't fulfill the one prophecy she made where the legend killer dies. That certainly didn't happen. So, you know, where is Bray Wyatt? Why haven't we seen Bray Wyatt? I mean, the last time we saw him, he went into a trunk and Orton set the trunk on fire. Then, like a week or so later, he set the Fiend on fire. We have not seen or heard of him since. So apparently, Alexa is in charge. And from what it's starting to seem like, it seems like she's turning more and more into the Sister Abigail type character. Whether that's what it is or not, I don't know. But it certainly was very bizarre. She had this crown-looking thing on her head and all the tar-looking goo that went down her face. And then, he just kind of froze when he saw her. So there is some connection there. I don't know what it is. Yeah, I'll give it 2 stars, but it was a little disappointing because they didn't, finish it out. They did some, this bizarre stuff, but we're getting more of a storyline here, and definitely a lot more questions. So yeah, not much more I'm going to add. It's yours, Fletch.
Next up, guys, we had was the women's tag team titles on the line, as it was Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler putting the titles on the line against Tamina and Natalya, the winners of the bout, in 14 minutes and 20 seconds. Still, the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, they successfully defend the titles. Most notably, no Reginald. Reggie was not at WrestleMania. That definitely is going to lead to some questions of why was he not there, but maybe that's a great thing because Anthony, it's all yours. The match was actually better than expected. We weren't really thinking much of this match, and it turned out pretty well for the most part.
Absolutely. I mean, we didn't really have any high hopes going into this, but I got to call this the sleeper fight of tonight. I mean, wow. I'm going to give this about 3.25 to 3.5 stars. I mean, the match was interesting in that it was essentially two singular matches disguised as a tag team bout. There was the Natalya, Shayna Baszler mat battle that made up the heart of the bout, and the clash between the dominant Tamina and Nia Jax. The fans were totally invested in Tamina and wanted to see her down Jax and win the titles, but it was not meant to be. In her first real moment at wrestling's biggest event, Tamina rose to the occasion and fans showed their appreciation. The booking of the closing moments of the bout was interesting in that Natalya is this generational wrestler whose father and grandfather were part of this legendary wrestling family, the Hart family, but in her biggest match in years was not alert enough to recognize who the legal competitor was. When Michael Cole can differentiate and the wrestler in the ring can't, it's not necessarily a good look. where do the champions go from here now? They have beaten all other teams multiple times, with the exception of Carmella and Billie Kay, and have no real credible threats. Unless the idea is to bring someone up from NXT, it appears as though the women's tag title division will remain stagnant, with more of the same for the foreseeable future. But this was a pleasant surprise. The match ended up being better than we thought. James Ellsworth 2.0 didn't rear his ugly head into this, thank God. So that's all there is to say on that. So sleeper fight of the night here, 3.25 to 3.5 stars. Michael Bullock, what a pleasant surprise this match turned out to be. Match was much better than we thought, and no Reggie, no Ellsworth 2.0.
Yeah, thank goodness for that. No Reggie, no Reginald for this one. And yeah, I mean, this match turned out to be much better than what we all expected, and yeah, I'll give this 3.25 to 3.5 as well. I mean, great work by both of these women here, and delivering a much more promising, much more great match than we all expected. And even though somebody from our Wrestling Forum family didn't care much about this match, why I don't know why, but it is what it is. So sleeper fight of the night, I'm with you on this one. So Dee Woodson, it is yours.
Yeah, I'll agree with the rating. This was fairly good. Definitely glad to see that Reginald wasn't there, and it made the match go a lot smoother, a lot better, not having that distraction added to ringside. So yeah, I'm not going to add too much more. Cheers, Fletch.
I agree with you guys on that. This was definitely a good match. This was a good battle. Look, I'm going to say 3.25 stars. I thought this was a lot better than even I expected it to go. And yeah, it was a fun match. It was a nice little sprint. Everybody did their parts. And at the end of the night, I think the right team won. I'm sorry. I'll say it. Nia Jackson, Shayna Baszler deserves to be the champion still. And we'll wait and see how this plays out. But yeah, this was an incredible end to a good match. So no doubt about it. We'll move right on along. Next up we had was Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn. Kevin Owens wins the match at 9 minutes and 20 seconds. Michael Bullock, I'm sorry. Mike Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I'll give this about maybe 2.5 to 3 for the effort here, and I'm glad that Logan Paul did not get involved in this match. I mean, I was a little concerned going into this, but thank goodness he didn't get involved. I mean, but yeah, Logan Paul at the end thought that he was going to win over Kevin Owens, but Logan Paul got a stunner too. But all I can say is couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. So yeah, so there's really nothing more for me to add to it. Dee Woodson, it is yours.
Yeah, I'll give it 3 stars. My 16-year-old, that was all she could talk about for a good portion of the night was Logan Paul getting the stunner. Kevin found that ESPN even wrote up a thing on Logan Paul getting a stunner from KO. So that was definitely, apparently, very big news that Logan Paul got taken out. But yeah, this was a fairly good match for what it was worth. So yeah, I'm glad that Logan didn't get involved in the match. Glad that he did stab Sammy in the back at the end, but at the same time, you almost expected him to take a stunner from Kevin Owens. So not much more I'm going to add. It's yours, Fletch.
Yeah, I totally agree with that too. It was better than expected, and it was look. when Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens get at it, the matches are amazing. There's no debate. There's no arguments. There's no nothing. It was a solid fight. It was a good battle. That was perfectly fine with me. I thought it was great. It was fine for what it was worth. It filled the time that it needed. And the thing was, we got some good action out of it. There was some good spots from both men. You saw a Helluva Kick. You saw the stunner. You know, you saw a lot of great action in the battle. Am I upset with all that happened? No. Plus, you get the added caveat of Logan Paul getting his ass whooped at WrestleMania. Everybody wins on that. So, no, this was fine. This was easily a 3-star fight for me. Anthony, it's yours.
Yes, 3 stars, indeed. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn saved the start of this show, delivering a strong match that even called back to their Battleground 2016 classic, ironically enough, called as such by JBL on commentary. The longtime friends lived up to expectations, and while this may not have been the match of the year candidate they had 5 years ago, they left nothing on the table, throwing everything they had into this one, and ensuring their one dance on wrestling's grandest stage was everything they wanted it to be. That Logan Paul did not factor in until after the bout, when he shoved Zayn and ate a stunner from Owens, was the right call, and helped this one achieve the quality that the performers and fans alike deserved. Solid 3 stars. We all got what we wanted. We all wanted to see that pretty boy get his, and I was happy about that. So not much more to say. MF, on to the next match.
Yeah, next up we had, well, from here on out, guys, it's all championship matches. First, the United States Heavyweight title on the line. Riddle puts the title on the line against Sheamus, winner of the bout in 10 minutes and 50 seconds, and new United States champion Sheamus. Dee Woodson, it's yours. Dee?
Sorry, I had stepped away a minute.
Oh, that's okay. No problem.
Okay, so we're talking about Sheamus and Riddle.
Yes.
Yes, that was I thought a very good title fight. They did a very good job going at it. I'm going to give it 3 3/4 of a star. You know, they brought it. They went head to head and pin to pin. So yeah, not much more I'm going to add. So it's yours.
MF, are you there?
I apologize. I forgot to unmute my mic. Solid match, good battle. Everything was good. I really liked it. Sheamus deserves the United States title. He's been busting his butt he's been one of the main superstars for Monday Night Raw. Anthony, you talked about it very well, that he's been a frontline soldier for him throughout WrestleMania leading into this. So for me, at the end of the day, I mean, this was as good as you could have written it. So for me, yeah, I'll give this about another 3 1/4, 3.5 stars. Good match. It's yours, Florio.
Yeah. I'm going to give it 3.5 stars here. I mean, this was hard-hitting and physical. A championship clash between 2 competitors who have no problem throwing fists, kicks, and any other form of striking they can to stun the opposition en route to a win. On this night, it was the Celtic Warrior who emerged victoriously. There will be some who denounce the idea of Riddle losing, but considering the fact that he was never really supposed to win the title in the first place until Keith Lee could not go back at Elimination Chamber, it is not some major setback. If anything, it positions Riddle to chase the title and prove he can knock off the former WWE champion to regain his title. As for Sheamus, this was an appropriate reward for 6 months of superb in-ring performances. While most will point to Roman Reigns, Bayley, Sasha Banks, and Asuka as the best performers of the COVID pandemic, Sheamus has been every bit as good and earned the right to shine on the WrestleMania stage. He did it in arguably his best performance on the grand stage to date. 3.5 stars for the effort. Not much more to say. Michael Bullock, new United States Heavyweight Champion. Sheamus with a three-peat, 3-time winner.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. This was definitely a 3.5-star match. I mean, this was definitely a great match here, and yeah, Sheamus deserves the title. I mean, especially with what he's done for the past 6 months. I mean, and now it's all, and now he's gotten rewarded for it. So, yeah, there's really nothing more to say. Fletch, let's move on to our next championship bout.
And it was for the Intercontinental title. It was Big E putting the title on the line against Apollo Crews in a Nigerian drum fight. Well, we found out what the rules were about the Nigerian drum fight. There was a bunch of weapons, drums. There was even a gong, and it was littered all across the ring. No DQ, no countouts. Only way to win, pinfall or submission. Winner of the bout in 6 minutes and 50 seconds, and new Intercontinental Champion, Apollo Crews, because Apollo's got some backup now. He's got a heavy. His name, Anthony, is Dava Kato. Is his name? Did I pronounce that right?
Dava Kato from Raw Underground. You are correct.
From Raw Underground, Dava Kato showing up, and now is aligned with the new Intercontinental Champion. Not really a shocking outcome. Fun little sprint. I actually liked the fight. I thought the fight was pretty entertaining. And correct outcome. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people are a little angry about it, but I mean, you're not going to please everyone, but I called this. I predicted that Apollo was going to walk out of here with the belt. He did. They did the right thing. So it obviously extends the storyline a little more deeper, and I thought the match was entertaining. It was short. I'll give it about 2.5 stars. I thought the fight could have been a lot better, but, I mean, should have gotten more time. But for what it was worth, this is an old saying in the wrestling form, fun little sprint. Anthony, it's yours.
But a little bit of a disappointment at the same time, MF, because I think we all wanted more. I mean,
oh yeah, I agree with that.
I was kind of hoping this would have gotten more time. I kind of wanted to see these two go for if those two did what they did in say 15 to 20 minutes, it would have been a hell of a lot higher. But that didn't make any sense. I mean, I can't believe how pressed for time this ended up being. But you know, it is what it is. I guess there was no time for overproduction or overcomplicating, as is typically the case whenever WWE busts out a new gimmick match. This was all action and as physical as anything else on the card. Big E was appropriately intense as he avenged the torment, physical and otherwise, heaped on him by Crews throughout the feud. The crowd was ready for him to achieve his vengeance and retain his title until Dava Kato returned and introduced himself to the feud. It was interesting to hear Michael Cole and Corey Graves feign ignorance as to who this massive man was when they worked for a company that featured the same guy on its television show less than a year ago. Of course, anyone that watched Raw Underground immediately sought to forget it, so it's understandable, I guess. The feud will and must continue, with Big E forced to chase after the title he had held on to since last Christmas. More importantly, Apollo Crews now has a heater that will only help to enhance his act and get him more over with the audience. That is the biggest takeaway from what was an otherwise fun, hardcore romp. I'm actually going to give this a solid 3 stars for the effort. But Michael Bullock, I mean, just imagine how much even better this could have been if they had been given more time.
Yeah, this definitely could have been a whole heck of a lot better if they had given these two more time, especially with this kind of kind of a match that we saw. But yeah, it was a fun little sprint. So I'll give it 3 stars as well. So yeah, there's really nothing more to say. Dee Dee Woodson, it is yours.
Yeah, the match was going great. In my opinion, we didn't need the interference in the end. I know they're using it as a way to introduce the new character because since you have Almost on Raw, you need another big guy on SmackDown. So who better to stick him with than the new Intercontinental Champion that he helped crown. Um, it kind of taints the win a little bit for uh, Cruz, but it is what it is. It's the way they wanted to go. So I'll give it the 3 stars, but in my opinion, yeah, it needed to be a little longer, and we didn't need the interference there at the end. So I know it's legal because there was no DQs, but still, I did not approve of it. So it's yours, Fletch.
Next up we had was the Raw Women's title match. Rhea Ripley challenging the defending champion Asuka. The winner of the bout, 13 minutes and 30 seconds. Welcome to your nightmare, Monday Night Raw. Your new Raw Women's Champion, the Nightmare Rhea Ripley, Anthony Florio. You now have a new queen that's ascended the throne of Monday Night Raw in the women's division.
And well deserved after getting fed to the queen a year ago, and what I thought was a major killer for her, a major buzz kill for her momentum. Well, she's got it back now. She's got all that momentum back, and she got the moment that she should have gotten a year ago. And wow, 3.25, 3.5. That's been the theme for most of these matches here tonight. There was nothing inherently wrong with this match, but it certainly lacked the emotional intensity that Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair had just 24 hours earlier. The work was there. Asuka was her typically great self, while Ripley looked even more comfortable on this stage this year than last. It was physical and hard fought. The lack of backstory or any semblance of a reason for fans to care about their issues was exposed by the lack of reaction down the stretch, though. Even the finish appeared to come from out of nowhere, an abrupt conclusion to a match that lacked the spark of the previous night's classic. With that said, Rhea Ripley is the right choice and now takes over a Raw Women's division that needs fresh and new talent. Whether she can bring that to it or if it needs a complete overhaul remains to be seen. But nothing more to say on this. I mean, the SmackDown Women's title match was definitely better, but this was still, as good as it could have gotten. So, well done. Congratulations, Rhea Ripley. So I'm hopeful that this will be the shot in the arm that our women's division really needs. So I'm very pleased about this. No question about that. So as much as I love Asuka, and I do, with the angry gibberish and all that good stuff, but her reign needed to end here. It really did. So great run, Asuka. Good run, but no more. So 3.25, 3.5 stars. Michael Bullock, a year ago, they fed her to the queen. You, out of all of us, were more pissed off than anybody. But I think after what happened tonight, I think all is forgiven now. Rhea's got her momentum back and then some. About time.
I think there's a better word for you to describe with what happened last year. She got jobbed to the queen. She got jobbed and fed. But yeah, she got her moment this year after being fed, jobbed to Charlotte Flair, where I mean we all agreed that this was supposed to be her moment last year, but thankfully they righted the wrong here, and yeah, so the outcome was never in doubt. I mean, we knew that this was going to happen. So a 3.5 star match, I do agree. I mean, it was still a good match, but of course, we're all in agreement. Last night's SmackDown Women's title match was far and away better. Not to say that this was bad, but this was definitely still a good match, no doubt about it. So, yes, the reign of the Nightmare begins over on Monday Night Raw. So, Dee Woodson, it is yours.
Yes, we now have new women's champions on both Raw and SmackDown. It's good to see the fresh faces, and hopefully we will get the fresh new matches. So yeah, I can give this about 3 stars. This was a very good match. Definitely, they definitely took it to the limits with each other. And they worked very well off of each other. So yeah, not much more I'm going to add. It's yours, Fletch.
It was a crowning achievement, no doubt about it. New champion crowned. I easily can call this three and a quarter stars. It was amazing. There was really nothing more to add, guys. We go to the main event of WrestleMania, the Universal title on the line, as it was Edge versus Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns, the winner of the bout. And the only match that went over 20 minutes in this WrestleMania this year, 22 minutes, 40 seconds, and still the Universal Champion, the head of the table, the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns, wins at WrestleMania. Michael Bullock, oh my God, can you believe this?
Man, this was freaking insane with what we saw here. I mean, we saw everything from this, the announce table being used, chairs. I mean, we saw it all, and through all that, the Tribal Chief remains the head of the table. So this was, to me, the fight of the night here. Hands down. I'm going to give this 4.25 stars. Hands down. I mean, what a match this was. So I think we're all in agreement here. I think we all need to acknowledge Roman Reigns as the Tribal Chief. Dee Woodson, it's yours. Dee, are you there?
She might have stepped away for a moment, so
yeah. Why don't you take the first 10
we'll let Dee when Dee comes back, she can jump right back in. But I think you underscored this, Michael Bullock. You underscored this. I'm gonna go 4.25 to 4.5. This was an excellent main event. This was just as good, just as hard hitting, just as action packed. This had everything we needed. There was a moment where all three guys had an opportunity to win this match here tonight. There was a great scene at right near the end where Roman got caught into 2 label locks, 2 cross faces by Daniel Bryan and Edge, and then there was that brutal scene where Bryan just absolutely waylays on Edge. Then, yes, we saw the angry Edge, the good Edge, as you guys like to say. But at the end, a sacrifice by Jey Uso that gave Roman Reigns the opening that he needed. And when he did, it was over. Roman Reigns stacks up both men. 1, 2, 3. It is over. Roman Reigns definitively has proven once again that he is indeed the head of the table and is the Universal Champion. Anthony Florio, a hell of a main event for WrestleMania.
I'm very curious. Could we make an argument for this to be a 5-star classic? Because it almost was.
It was almost there. I think what kind of took the 5 away was Jey Uso's involvement right at the end of the
Yeah.
match. I think if
You're
Roman
right.
would have gotten over clean, then I probably would have called 5. But because Jey Uso kind of did sacrifice himself right at the end, that kind of took the 5 away from me.
And that's the reason. And one of the reasons why I gave it that 4.25 is because of Jey Uso. I mean, it wasn't just the ending; he did get involved.
Oh, he was definitely involved very early in the match as well.
If it wasn't for that, I probably would have given it the 4.5. But because of his involvement, not only in the end, but during portion of it, I can only give it 4.25.
You know what? And side note, funny note, Dee Woodson. And guys, I cannot believe we actually had a WrestleMania chat. How awesome was that?
Yes, we did.
So we were
It was
watching.
awesome.
Yeah, it was a first, and thank you, Dee, because it looks like she was the catalyst for that. Because I don't think none of us thought that was going to happen.
No, I certainly didn't.
No, I didn't. Me neither. But okay, so Dee Woodson, when Jey Uso was doing all this stuff, when he was beating up when he was beating up on Daniel, beating up on Edge, she literally said, I think it's time that Jey Uso goes into the woodshed. The minute she says that, Edge absolutely destroys Jey Uso. Like, literally destroyed him. We kind of waited a second, and I was like, Dee, remember when you said that Jey Uso should have been taken to the woodshed? Checkmark that off, please.
Yes.
All she just did was laugh in hysterical laughter right after that.
Right.
So, go ahead, Florio. It's all yours. Sorry.
All right. That's all right. But nonetheless, this was the fight of the night. I know Bullock is poo-pooing the Jey Uso interference, and I can certainly understand that. But for me, I'm going to give this the 4.5 stars anyway. I mean, this match was just too damn good. I mean, if Jey didn't interfere at the end, then I think we would have been talking 5, because this had the feel of a 5-star classic. I mean, this thing was really getting there, and then that went and happened. But nonetheless, that finish was as emphatic a message to the entire WWE universe that Roman Reigns is the guy right now as we have ever seen. The top star of today's generation took 2 men in the twilight of their careers, piled them up like garbage, and defeated them on wrestling's biggest night. He withstood everything thrown his way, including that superb double crossface submission, and earned the win in his greatest WrestleMania moment to date. On a night when many wondered, including myself, if it would be Daniel Bryan returning to the top of the WWE mountain, or, in the case of MF, if Edge would culminate his improbable comeback with the victory, it was the reigning and defending champion that continued his streak as WWE's most dominant and engaging heel. It was absolutely the right call. WWE spent years trying to get into this point to be accepted by fans. Now as the lead heel, a focused killer who does what he says he will, with or without help, he is the undisputed top dog, and it does not appear that it will end anytime soon. Nor should it. Neither Bryan nor Edge would have been more than a placeholder for the next champion. So why not write it out with the most compelling character in the company to date? Roman Reigns, you are the tribal chief. You are the head of the table. And to me, is a great champion. So that's all there is to say on this. 4.5 stars, maybe a little teetering on 4.75. This was the fight of the night. This stole the dang show. And not much more to say. MF, to me, Roman Reigns is the most talented wrestler in the world. And tonight, right there, we saw it.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And the one big thing about this WrestleMania, WWE, we wanted it to know, what was Roman Reigns' reaction gonna be We found it out loud and clear. He still gets booed. He got booed out of Raymond James Stadium. It was loud. It was emphatic. It was everything. And that's the thing. The one thing that WWE was so concerned was the fans going to cheer Roman now that he's a heel. WWE, you can breathe a sigh of relief. He's not going to get cheered anytime soon. And as a matter of fact, just because he won the title here tonight, it's going to add more heat to Roman Reigns. So you probably did a major service for yourselves and for Roman Reigns' heel character, because fans are going to boo him even more harder the next time if we ever do get fans in the arena again very soon. Didi Boydson has come back. So Didi, we're talking about the main event, the Universal title, and Roman Reigns is still the champion.
Yeah, that he is. He's still the champion. He pulled it off, yes, with help, but it's another one of these no DQs, so you really can't say anything because there was no disqualification for it. So yeah, I'll do the 4.5 stars. It was a very well done match. These three, took it to the limits and more. Lots of great bumps and stuff that happened in it. So yeah, not much more I'm going to add on that.
And now we come to the end, guys. The final thoughts of WrestleMania. Mike Bullock, we'll lead it off with you, my friend. What did you think of night 2? Mike? Okay. I guess we'll wait for Mike to get back. I don't know where he is at the moment. Didi, do you want to give a quick thought?
I'll give it another 8 stars. I mean, this was a solid follow-up night to night 1, and they did fairly well. We had the low point with a couple of matches, mainly the opening bout with The Fiend and Randy Orton. But I see it being more of a storyline type thing than an actual match, because apparently we have something big happening with that. But yeah, I mean, just about every match delivered to a point, and and I think having the fans there for both nights actually very much improved the quality of the show, because you could tell that they were feeding off of the reactions they got from the live crowd. So not much more I'm going to say. It's yours, Fletch.
All right, we do got Michael Bullock back. So, Mike, give me your final thoughts on WrestleMania.
What did you guys give it?
Didi gave it an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10 as well for this. I mean, the only disappointment was obviously the first match, but everything else was either solid to good to great. So, and I mean, it's what a WrestleMania this has been, guys. I mean, just to have the WWE Universe back in person, and you could just tell the emotion from all the superstars, just to have them back. It's something that we can all enjoy and be thankful for. So, nothing more to say. It's yours, Fletch.
Yeah, look, I'm going to openly admit it. With WrestleMania, last year, many people called it the worst WrestleMania ever. Because A, there was no fans. B, there was a lot of things about the show that many people didn't like about WrestleMania, which, okay, I get it, no problem, whatever. This was an incredible bounce back for WWE. They absolutely nailed it with this WrestleMania. Now, I will openly admit there were some flaws, especially on night one. The weather delay did not help. But once you got through some of the action, some of the matches, and everything else, everything was fine. I thought night one was better than night two. I will openly admit that. Where night one was easily 8 to 8.5. I partially disagree with you guys. Tonight I give night two 7.5. I kind of feel like there was some good, there was great, but I thought some of the negatives really shined a lot more than it did in night one. Night one, the only real bad was the tag team turmoil match for a number of reasons, but I won't get into that. For night two, there were a lot more bad than good on this one. First, the Fiend versus Randy Orton. I think we can all talk. We don't even need to go into that. No more further detail about that. I understood, but I really felt like the clunky finish on the Intercontinental title fight kind of takes it down a peg or two. And then I get it. I know a lot of people were not happy that Roman won, so I'm gonna give it a little indemnity, even though I'm not gonna be too harsh on that. But I know a lot of people are being very harsh, saying about Roman successfully defending. So you got those three things. Then there was a couple of here and there moments. You know, you had Hulk Hogan and Titus O'Neil coming out in pirate outfits at the beginning. What the hell was that? Then you had the Bellas trying to saving Hogan and Titus from Bayley, which I think a lot of people felt like it should have been maybe, I don't know, Becky Lynch. I don't know what happened there. Becky teased. Nothing happened. What the heck? So maybe they're saving her for Raw. Maybe they're saving her for SmackDown. I don't know. We'll wait and see. But yeah, that was like I said, there were more good than bad. I will give you that. But this is me nitpicking on a show that, look, honestly, this was far better than last year's WrestleMania, no doubt about it. And I could even go as far to say that this was even almost near better than 35. I mean, they're about neck and neck right now. But I thought 37, with the two nights that they had, did a very good job and should be commended for what they've done. Anthony, you got the final word tonight.
I'm actually going to take it down just a smidgen more. I'm going to give it between 7 and 7.5 for me. I'm right there with you, MF. I mean, night one was definitely the better night. I think the body of work on night one was definitely better. We only had one bad match on night one, and that was that women's tag team turmoil match. Other than that, all the other matches on night one, like I said last night, were solid to good to great. Here tonight, Orton and the Fiend, you know, with the way they started, it definitely set a wrong tone for the night. And you know, Lashley and Drew last night, I mean, they set the correct tone for the night, and it ended up delivering. With the rough start to this show, I mean, tonight, but the main event stole the damn show. It's definitely between, I would have to say maybe this was the best match of WrestleMania, with Sasha and Bianca right behind. I mean, the two main events both over-delivered. And last night they sent the fans home happy. Unfortunately, the fans get sent home brokenhearted tonight. but it is what it is. So they're like, yeah, we gave you the happy ending last night. This time around, not tonight. We're doing it our way. I'm sorry, we're gonna have to send you fans home brokenhearted, and that's exactly what they did here tonight. So main event stole the show, no question about that. It's hard to rank all the other matches after that, but the worst fight was definitely Orton and The Fiend. I think that was the worst fight of the night, and the other matches, and another bit of a disappointment, MF. I got to be honest. The Nigerian drum fight. I mean, as great as it was for the short time it was given, that thing got now that Didi and Bullock are here, I'm gonna do a little slip here. It got dicked for time, and it did. It really did get dicked for time, and that's a damn shame because we wanted to see those two horses just go at it, and unfortunately, we only got 7
and they had the makings of going for it. Like
exactly.
they literally were going right at it, and they were well on their way to having a big fight, and then that end just came out of nowhere. It's like they pulled the rug out from under us, and boy, you know what you're talking about guy. How we were talking about how all these guys getting whacked up across the ring apron tonight. There was like 6 or 7 instances of that. We ended up getting hit and getting smacked into the ring apron.
Oh yeah, the ring apron. Yes, that definitely played a role in the show tonight. Second best fight of the night. I would probably have to say maybe. Gosh, it's a toss up between the U.S. and the women's. I mean, I think maybe the U.S. fight should be the second best fight of the night, and maybe the Raw women's title goes third. I mean, sleeper fight of the night, hands down, that women's tag team title match. I mean, round of applause for all 4 of those gals for bringing the effort they did tonight, especially Tamina Snuka. That's the best I've ever seen her look. Unbelievable. And that was 4. And then I probably would say maybe the worst fight we know was Fiend and Orton. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. And not sure about 5 and 6, but the top 3 definitely the main event, the U.S. title, the women's title, women's tag team goes 4, Nigerian drum fight. Probably would go 5 there, and that's pretty much all I can do. So, but a great weekend. Night 1 was definitely better as far as I'm concerned, but it was great to see fans back. And May 16th, that's our next event. May 16th, it's going to be called Wrestlemania Backlash. I think we all know it's coming, MF. I think we can expect to see a lot of WrestleMania rematches on that show.
I wouldn't be surprised, and quite frankly, I think there should be a few WrestleMania rematches.
Big E and Apollo for one. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, Big E, Apollo, I could see that. I could see maybe Lashley versus Drew again.
Agreed.
What else? Maybe
Sasha and Bianca.
That would be a great fight. That would be a great match.
Could be even better.
Yeah. Sasha, Bianca, Rhea, and Asuka could go one more time. Maybe Charlotte in this one too. Maybe that could be a triple threat.
Or maybe Becky. Maybe Becky gets added to SmackDown.
Yeah, very much so. But I think they're going to want to keep her away from the title picture just for now. So I could see maybe Becky and Bayley one-on-one. Or maybe we could see a tag team fight that could possibly bring back the Bellas. Maybe.
A lot of people wouldn't be happy.
Yeah.
Especially after what happened tonight.
Yeah, but
after poor Bayley got buried.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a burial. Come on, even you got to admit it.
Yeah, it was.
That was a damn burial.
But wait a minute. But come on. After everything Bayley has done, do you really feel sorry for her? Honestly?
The fans wanted to see her get a moment of sort.
Yeah, I guess so.
She got buried, plain and simple.
And for her to get buried by the Bellas of all people. Oh God.
It's the worst burial I've seen since those damn Bellas did the same thing to Natty on her birthday in her hometown of Calgary, for God's sakes.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. And I remember how pissed off you were that night, too. Oh boy, were you pissed.
Still am to this day.
Yeah, okay. So, tomorrow night, guys, is Ridiculously Raw, hosted by Anthony Florio. The fallout from WrestleMania, the first Raw after Mania. This is always when something kooky happens. Something crazy happens.
And we got a new change. We got a change in the announcer table.
Yeah, we do.
Tom Phillips, Adnan Virk.
Adnan Virk from ESPN.
And MLB Network.
And MLB Network is now going to be with WWE with Corey Graves. Yes, Graves somehow, some way is heading back to Raw. And Byron Saxton. They're going to have them together. Samoa Joe goes out the door. Now, questions running wild. Does that mean Joe might be heading back to the ring? Is he heading to SmackDown? We're going to have to wait and see. We don't know. And plus, what type of effect is this going to have on SmackDown, too? Because Michael Cole, has he lost his running mate? Has he lost his buddy? Who's he going to be paired up with now? So we're have to wait and see how that plays out.
Definitely.
So we got a lot coming up because we got Raw, we got Monday Night Raw. We also got the Hardcore Justice, which was the special pay-per-view that happened on WrestleMania weekend.
Yep, and I will have an and in place of my Tony's take, I'm going to have an exclusive review of that and that alone.
Okay. And then on Wednesday, we're going to do Wednesday Night Mayhem. However, guys, though it is now going to be a permanent change. NXT will now lead off, and then AEW Dynamite will go second.
Yes.
But as always, hosted by myself, Anthony Floyo, Michael Bullock will be in the house for that. Thursday will be the return of Strictly Sports, and we will talk about we got a lot of sports we got to cover. We got the NCAA final that we never got to with the crowning of a new national champion in the Baylor Bears. We also got some NHL trades that went down, and I do believe there was a couple of other news and views that we need to cover, I believe.
I don't know. We've been so wrapped up with Mania, we haven't even focused on the sports world.
I think we're gonna have to take a look at the sports world. So we're gonna have to check some of the news, see if there's any out there. So we'll go there, and we'll see you on we'll see you tomorrow night for Ridiculously Raw, exclusively live on YouTube and StreamYard.com. For all of us here, I'm good old MF Michael Fletcher. Thanks so much for everything, guys. Have a wonderful evening, guys. Good night. So long for now.
Goodbye.